last 5 or 6 years. He has a better sense of it than I do, so anything I say is just my interpretation of what he says, but I think the answer is it's in great shape. The league, the Pacific Coast League, is in great shape, except, you know, it's kind of ill-named. But you have to remember it's in a state that has one of the, how many, 14 teams in the Big Ten and one of the 12 teams or one of the 10 teams in the Big 12 or whatever it is. So we don't know geography and we don't know arithmetic, I guess. But it's in good. Minor league baseball is doing great. The price of buying a team keeps going up and up and up, which is too bad in a way, and that it kind of cuts out guys like my partners and me, because I don't think we have to run it as a business. You know, it's not a hobby.
Right.
When P.K. Wrigley bought the Chicago Cubs in the 30s, he said, baseball is too much of a sport to be a business, and it's too much of a business to be a sport. And that's the way minor league baseball is right now. You know, it's going over the numbers in the morning and going out and standing behind the batting cage in the afternoon. It's just
sounds
great.
Like paradise.
It is. It really is. It really is great.
Yep.
Michael, I think we should tell some of the people that this isn't your only career that you've had being a baseball owner, owning a team. You've done, you've worked in journalism, you have a law degree, you've won a Pulitzer Prize, and right now I think you're writing for City View, you're doing a weekly column, and there's a lot of things to write about. I noticed you wrote about the Regents, and just recently you wrote a piece about the Iowa State football bowl trip.
Right.
And I thought that was very interesting because they made a lot of money, but they spent a little more than they made.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. The Register had a little item that said, a little 2-paragraph item that said Iowa State said it made $15,000 on going to the Liberty Bowl, and the revenue was $1 million. So I thought, wow, how can you spend $1 million going to the Liberty Bowl? So I sent a note up there and said, how'd it go? You know, how'd you spend that money? And they sent me back by category. So then I send me a manifest of who was in the official party, and wow, they all in all they paid the transportation hotel for 685 people, and they paid.
It's a big team. And
they paid the meals for 581 of those people. The official party was 104 people, and it included about 31 of the children of the people in the athletic department. And so I guess I don't know.
Shining a light on that is a good thing.
Well, I mean, I just think it's interesting.
It was very,
you know, that they budget, I guess, the way the University of Iowa budgets their athletic department. Well, we're going to take in $72 million. How can we spend it? Nobody ever says, gee, should we give any to the Writers' Workshop to help subsidize them, or should we send any over to the history department or to the REACH program to help the autistic and Down syndrome kids in there who we charge 3 times the tuition to that we do to ordinary students. And that's the athletic mindset at major universities, not just Iowa or Iowa State. Or should we send $1 million up to UNI to help those poor guys, which by the luck of the draw aren't in a major conference. They don't get big television money, and so tuition and state appropriations subsidize the athletic department up there to the tune of $3 to $5 million, depending on the year. But Iowa, which after the Big Ten network was founded, money just pours in over the transom, $10, $11 million a year, just found money. And so the answer is, how can we spend it?
Amen. Well, we appreciate that. We're going to take one more break. We'd like to do one more segment with you if your busy schedule will allow. And we'll be right back with more Extra Points. Stay tuned.
That's magic. This is not. No magic can help you get in shape, and it won't happen overnight. You need a plan, commitment, and more often than not, you will need help. That's what the Y does best. They have the finest facilities and equipment and a professional staff trained to help you succeed. If you and your family are serious about living an active, healthier lifestyle, why wait? Join the Y today and let tomorrow be the start of a healthier you.
Welcome back to Extra Points. Al Lorenz and Mark Hansen joined this week by Michael Gartner with the Iowa Cubs. Michael, you've also obviously spent time on the Board of Regents, and we're talking about the business of sport. How do we get our arms around the direction that, particularly Big 10, Big 12, BCS level schools are going? You talked a little bit about the budgeting and the dollars involved.
One school in one state can't do it. It has to come from the NCAA, and I don't see any appetite at the NCAA for it at all. I don't even think one conference could do it. I mean, you can do little things, but you can't fundamentally change, I don't even think you can change contracts
right.
so that they're less one-sided. I don't think you can change budgets. I don't think you can scale back on everybody has to have all these practice facilities. And I mean, Drake now is the new Drake basketball coach talked about how great it is they're going to have a $7 or $8 million basketball practice facility.
Right.
I mean, is that the best way to spend resources?
Yeah. I'm a guy that's been around it as an athlete, as an administrator at the
Were you an
Sports
athlete?
Commission. Well, a long time ago.
Were you an administrator?
They had a jump ball after every made basket when I played, and we were in black and white. But really, I was.
And the guards were on one end of the court.
My high school sweetheart was 3 times All-State and never scored a point.
Yeah,
so
what was his name?
I'm going to just ignore that. We're going to pretend that we're just going to let it pass. Getting back to the subject at hand. I can say as a dad, I've got a 16-year-old who is being recruited by the in-state schools and out-of-state schools.
Boy?
No, a daughter.
Daughter.
She's committed to the University of Florida to play basketball down there. But during that process, there were some things that came out at the University of Iowa out of the compliance office and other things. And as a dad, I have to say, it troubled me deeply that you had a Regents institution that mishandled and has consistently mishandled over time those kinds. As a guy with a daughter. She committed to Florida, and that didn't bother me at all. And that's sad in a lot of ways.
Yeah, if you lived in Florida, you'd probably wish she'd committed to Iowa or something. I mean,
Yep.
I don't think any state has a monopoly on excess power in athletic departments. I mean, look at Penn State.
Yep.
More recently, look at Rutgers.
Right.
Look down
it's
at Auburn. It's everywhere, and we're more familiar with it because we live here. I mean, alumni are very powerful forces. Athletics, more people. Let's say the University of Iowa probably touches more people through athletics than it does through any other method.
Right.
And the fans are passionate, and they are demanding, and coaches become all powerful. Penn State is the perfect example. Yep. And scandals tend to be swept under rugs. I mean, I used to say that, you go into some of these offices and the rugs are an inch higher than they are elsewhere because there's so much dirt that's been swept under. And
sad but true.
But it's not just Iowa and Iowa State. When I was on the Regents, I mean, we had two situations at UNI that were just terrible. But
how do we impact the culture? I mean, I know there's no easy answer. I know there's no quick fix. Is it too big to change?
I think that the presidents of the universities have to lean on the NCAA to make fundamental change. And if they don't, then you're going to have the Congress leaning on them and things like that. And how many sex scandals can there be? How many bribery scandals can there be? Right. How many illegal payoffs can there be before people say enough?
Right. Well, the reality is right now, if you win.
Yeah. And I'm not against big-time college athletics at all. I mean, and I don't agree with my friend, the late Bill Reichart, that they should be paid or anything like that. I was talking to a friend of mine who used to be president of Ole Miss, and he was his name was Robert Kayak, and he was a professional football player. After he was a quarterback at Ole Miss. He played for the Redskins. He went to law school. He practiced law. He became dean of the law school at Ole Miss, then president. And I said, what do you do? And he said, I think college kids at big schools should have 2 tracks. You bring in kids and you put them on the on the welder's track. You know, at least when they graduate, they've got a skill. Because such a low percent is going to go on to the NFL. So teach them a trade, and then the others can be on the academic. I thought that was a great idea. He said, I suggested it to my colleagues at the Southeast Conference. They laughed me out of the room.
I bet. Now, when you played tennis at Miami of Ohio, were you on the welder's track?
I was wondering when you were going to bring that up.
I got to, every show.
You know, that's interesting, but there is there are a lot of people who are against the welder track, too, because it's not, they say it's not the university's role to play remedial education. And so I think
is there a role then to just take these guys and fudge their grades and then throw them on the trash heap?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is that you have these two factions that are fighting. They are fighting that. So I don't know what the answer is. You were the president of the Regents, and what would you do? What is the thing that you would do? I know that. Go ahead.
First of all, I would not call their budgets auxiliary enterprises. I would integrate them into the university and make them do their budgets from dollar up like everybody else does. So if they have $70 million, spend 50 and give $20 million to Reach or to something like that. I'd start with that.
I love that. We've got to have you back on. We've got to take a break right now. Come back for more Extra Points right after this.
Overwhelmed? Frustrated? Not sure what to do with your garage? Let the professional design team at Minnesota Cabinets be your garage organization solution. Floors, cabinetry, slapboard walls, and other accessories, all custom designed to maximize your space and be easy on your budget. Let Minnesota Cabinets, your trusted solution for kitchen cabinets, bring some peace of mind to your garage too. Wait till your neighbors see this. Minnesota Cabinets, home and garage on 100th Street in Urbandale.
People like to see a return on their investment. Is it time for you to make an investment in your health? The YMCA has great locations, facilities, equipment, and a staff dedicated and trained to help you succeed. And it's affordable to all. The Y offers boot camp classes, a pool, wellness coaches, complimentary child watch, and so much more. If you and your family are serious about living an active, healthier lifestyle, why wait? Join the Y today and let tomorrow be the start of a healthier you.
Welcome back to Extra Points. As we wrap up this week's episode, here's Mark Hansen with this week's Extra Point.
Thanks, Al. Since we last spoke, Rutgers did the right thing and fired its bat-dung-crazy basketball coach, which means big-time college sports hasn't lost its mind completely. But there's a bit of unfinished business here. Remember how Steve Alford walked out on New Mexico after agreeing to that big contract extension? The reality is, coaches like Alford have the sweetest deal this side of corporate welfare. They get paid millions of dollars a year even after they're fired, but if they leave to take another job, the contract means nothing. See you later, suckers. Even when there's a big buyout, the new employer is often more than willing to help make it go away. But remember those kids the Rutgers coach was abusing during practice? I know it's a stretch, but let's say they absolutely hated the way they were being punched, pushed, kicked, and bombarded with basketballs. Couldn't take it anymore. Wanted to transfer to another school. Well, they'd have to sit out a year before they could play again. Now, I don't agree with all the changes that are supposed to revolutionize college sports. For instance, I can't see how paying college athletes makes economic sense. Not if you want to eliminate all the schools like Drake and UNI that lack the big TV deals. And do you pay the field hockey players too? Better believe it. On the other hand, I can see why college athletes should be able to change schools anytime they want without having to sit out. We saw one of the better reasons recently at Rutgers. Bat-dung-crazy coaches. And that's it for today. Be sure to tune in next time when Casey and Al regale us with a rehash of their Fantasy Masters golf picks. See you then.